Welcome to the Maximus Podcast with your hosts, Bobby Maximus, that's me, and Joe Sabula, that is that guy. Today,
the guy.
The guy. I'm the guy, Joe. What do we have to get together and fight about this now. But speaking of people that think they're the guy, people that think they are quote unquote the man. Today, I just want to talk about how bad men suck and how bad men's advertising sucks.
I'm so glad that this is the topic today, because this is first and foremost on my mind right now.
So we've been spending a lot of time on TikTok, using it for advertising, using it to try and push content, Instagram as well. And every time I open my For You page, my search feature, I'm, surfing around because I'm a man, I am seeing stuff directed towards men. It's a message that you have to hate women because their standards are too high and they're ruining your life. It's a message about how the left is ruining your life and coming to get you, or the right is ruining your life and they're coming to get you. Some message about this George Davos guy and the Illuminati and the global currency in Switzerland exchange, or something like I really don't understand about. Or it's Jordan Peterson or Sean Whalen or Andrew Tate or a group of these other guys telling me how to live.
Well, it's a constant, like, stop apologizing for being a man. And I don't know. Somebody's always after your power. Whatever power you have, somebody's always after it. They're always after me Lucky Charms.
But it's all stuff, and you brought this point up last week when we were talking, that's based on fear of vengeance, because that's what generally speaks to men.
Yeah,
right?
If you want to motivate a man to take action, like, those are the big emotions. Those are the ones that you pull on.
Yeah. So here I am trying to picture what most men are like these days, Joe. And I go to my kids' football games. I go to my kids' basketball games. I go to the grocery store. The odd occasion I go to the mall. I see how people are. And they're fat. They're out of shape. They're sloppy. They haven't shaved. Their hair is a mess. Like, they look like they can barely handle the simple task of taking care of themselves.
Well, they can't. 100% they can't. They have no discipline. They have no self-control. It's just this constant floating around from thing to thing. And then rather than accepting that they haven't made any kind of effort, they haven't been able to sustain an effort, they haven't developed the skills that they need in order to get where they want to go, they'll just reach out and blame some unseen force. The invisible hand is keeping me from losing my love handles.
And I got to tell you, the typical person, this happened to me the other day. I pulled up to jiu-jitsu and there was a truck in front of me and they had a rattlesnake on the back windshield, and then unkillable logo sign. It just said unkillable, right? And I'm like, oh God, here we go. Let's see what type of guy gets out of this truck. And I would expect somebody that is libertarian, if you will, somebody that is truly unkillable, somebody that is self-sufficient, all the things that stands for, that I'm unkillable, to be fit. It's a person that gets out 200 pounds overweight, 300 pounds overweight. Like, I have no idea how heavy this person was. A gut that was leaking out from the bottom of their t-shirt. Jeans that were like, when people say you have a plumber's crack, like the kind of, you're so fat it doesn't fit over your butt. And this is the person that is like consuming this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Buying all this stuff that's going to get on their high horse. It's going to talk to me about morals and integrity and all the other things, Joe.
Well, and the one that gets me, it's like this sense of discipline and order, right? And it's like, dude, like, unkillable. If I stabbed you, you'd leak gravy.
Yes.
Like,
you're going to die walking up your stairs from a heart attack.
Yeah, it's the bacon grease that's going to kill you. It ain't going to be a bullet. Nobody even wants to shoot you. They wouldn't waste the bullet. Just give it a minute.
And what really, really gets me with that is you're worried about somebody coming to take away your guns. You're worried about someone screwing with your bank account. You're worried about China, that they're hacking into TikTok and collecting all your data and all of these things. But yet you can't handle the simple task of, I'm not even telling you to be physically fit, just basic human hygiene or taking care of yourself, Joe.
Yeah, just maintenance for crying out loud, or just the simple discipline of maybe cutting back a little bit on the beers and maybe not eating so many potato chips.
And that's it. Like the person that lectures me about poison gas and stuff in the atmosphere, but meanwhile, again, you're consuming potato chips or Doritos or whatever you want to eat. And so the reason that I say men suck is because men get sucked in by this. Like they really watch this type of stuff and get fired up, Joe, and they're ready to go to war. But again, they can't muster the discipline or the dedication to wake up in the morning and work out.
Well, I can't figure out how you're going to be like this unkillable warrior when you can't walk up a flight of stairs without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
How long is this war going to be?
Push-ups.
Yeah.
It was actually funny. You know the actor, I think it's Michael Jai White.
Yeah.
He was in Spawn, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about Steven Seagal, and he's got some like not nice words for Steven Seagal. And Steven Seagal at some point had some not nice words for him. And they asked him about it, and they asked if he considered Steven Seagal a real martial artist. And he laughed and said, no. Like he's not anything close to a real martial artist. He could barely do a front snap kick. And he went on to explain that one of the main tenets of martial arts is keeping yourself fit, is looking after yourself, is discipline. And he's like, how do you call a person that's 90 pounds overweight fit? Or how do you say they have discipline? He goes, and compare that to Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is like 80 years old and looks great. Yeah. Like it's the dude that's kept himself up physically. That's a real martial artist. I can't consider Steven Seagal a real martial artist. And it's an interesting point, whether you like Steven Seagal or don't like Steven Seagal. He's brought me great entertainment, so I will never speak ill of the man. But it brings up an interesting point with this fitness thing. If you can't master the most basic human task, the most basic form of self-care, you have no business waving your flag around, waving your gun around, lecturing other people, talking to them about what are the standard buzzwords these people use? Like, don't watch porn. Don't watch CNN. It's filled with poison. Stay away from social media. Meanwhile, they have an Instagram account and a TikTok account.
Which, by the way, they're basically using to look at porn.
Yes.
Which is why they're so worried that China is going to get their data, because then somebody's going to find out what accounts they've actually been looking at.
That actually happened with the Ashley Madison leak, by the way.
Yes, it did.
When all the list of accounts came up. But this is the person that also is complaining that, cash is being taken away so the government can track them and blah, 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 blah. But carries around a cell phone.
Yeah, don't be a sheep. And yet the whole time, who's being the biggest sheep ever?
It was kind of like when the whole PayPal thing came out this year, Joe. Like when they said, oh, no, you can't use PayPal anymore. They're going to report your earnings to the government. Well, it's called taxes. Like, what are you hiding on your PayPal that you don't want somebody?
That's how they're paying for their porn.
And by the way, Joe, I promise you, regardless of whether PayPal reports or not, if the IRS audited you, they can subpoena that information.
Oh, 100% they can.
Like whether Venmo's reporting to them or not. If I get audited by the IRS is going to say, let's see, every bank account, do you have a Venmo? Do you have a PayPal? Like that's the reality. Like nothing changed, but people jumped onto that. I actually had a person and I thought it was a joke. They were ready to train with me. Dead serious. I am ready to change my life. This person's inquired before. And their handle on the email, I think, was the Last Starfighter or something like that.
Nice.
And I said, okay, here's my terms. This is what we train, blah, 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 blah. I take Venmo or PayPal. And then they wrote back, well, we won't be training with you because we don't support Venmo or PayPal because they're tracking our, and I'm like,
okay. Cool. Your choice.
Cool. Like I can't help you. But again, it's that kind of mentality. It's like fighting some invisible force, the Illuminati, the whatever you want to call it.
Well, but think about this, because I feel it's the same thing about kind of conspiracy theorists in general, right? It's so much more attractive to believe that there's this giant force, this this monster that you can never compete with, that you can never overcome. That's the thing that's holding you back. Because if you admit that that doesn't exist, that that's not the case, then you have to admit that it's you.
Yeah.
You have to look inside and say, it's my lack of ability to organize my life, my lack of desire to actually take care of myself as a human being, that's preventing me from being who and what I wish I could be. That hurts too much. So it can't be something wrong with me. I'm perfect. I know me, and I'm perfect, and I know everything about everything, and I can't understand why other people don't see that too. So clearly, it's the Illuminati, it's PayPal, it's whatever else you want to blame that's holding you back, because somehow the Chinese government is profiteering off of every bag of potato chips that they can convince you to eat. And it's something you can't fight that, because they've got, I don't know, space lasers that are telling you to eat the chips, and you don't have self-control because of that. Not because you don't have discipline, not because you never tried to learn discipline, not because you ever applied yourself in a consistent manner for more than a week, 2 weeks at a time, and actually develop some life skills. It's just way easier to believe that as George Soros or whatever has got control, and you're just a victim.
Remind me to do a TikTok after this. I need to do one of those slide throughs with the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you don't have a girlfriend. And then the next slide will say, it's not the Matrix. The next slide will say, it's not the Illuminati. The next slide will say, it's not because women's standards are too high. The last slide will say, it's because you are fat, lazy, and broke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would anyone want to be your girlfriend? Like, that's what it comes down to, Joe.
Yeah. What
Like,
do you bring to the table other than a bunch of angry excuses?
And the other thing, you're willing, whether you like the guy or hate the guy, you're willing to watch 9 hours of Andrew Tate videos a day, telling you how to be a man, telling you to go buy a Bugatti and it's going to solve all your problems. Meanwhile, you can't, again, handle going to the gym for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or reading 10 pages of a book.
Well, think of all the things we get pushback on, right? Like if we even get away from just the gym thing and we just tell, you know what, if you slept 8 hours a night, you could cure diseases. You could solve the problems of the world. And then people are like, I got kids. I got a job. Like what? You're the only fucking person on this planet that has kids, a job, a wife, that has time commitments. You're the only one, right? How much work does Elon Musk put in? How much work does Jeff Bezos put in? Like, what are these guys' days like? You know, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a workaholic.
Yeah.
And if it's like, Gary, listen, if you want to keep at this game for a while, you're going to have to sleep 8 hours a night. The dude will find a way.
Yeah.
Because that's what winners do. We're not going to invent more time to give to lazy people to waste.
But if you want to get better, and we brought it up, the 75 Hard program by Andy Frisella, which I love the program, by the way.
Yeah, it's great.
I think it's like what a lot of people need. But if you look at it, it's just telling people to take control of their own lives. Yeah. And if you look at the points that he wants you to hit, I want you to work out every day, and I want you to do a walk or a workout outside every day. So you got to commit to 2 things a day. And by the way, they could be 10 minutes, they could be 30 minutes, they could be like, it doesn't really matter. But it shows some commitment, because I will tell you, Joe, the hardest part of that program is working out outside.
Yeah.
Because it's raining. Well, no, you have to grab an umbrella. It's cold. It's dark. It's late at, like, whatever the reason is, right? It's hard for people. You got to read 10 pages of a book a day. You can't just scroll Instagram and get meaningless content. You actually have to read. You have to do something. No booze, which is really hard for people. And you're not allowed to cheat on their diet. Like, if you can master that for 75 days, I promise you, your life would change dramatically.
100% it would.
But that's too difficult for men. And there's a lot of people that fail it. It's much easier to log on to Instagram and watch your Andrew Tate videos and just pretend that everything's going to be better.
No, because remember now, Andrew Tate is appealing to your fear of losing control, right? Your desire for vengeance against the people that you perceive that have slighted you, which in a lot of cases is just society at large, right? He's just appealing to the lowest hanging fruit on the male emotional spectrum.
And I wonder what the general, like, Andrew Tate fan looks like. Not the person that's just entertained, because there are some videos that I watch that, I'm genuinely entertained by he's a great showman, right? Like, The way he talks, I laugh. Okay, it's funny. But I wonder the people he's really appealing to, like he tugs at their heartstrings. What do you think that average person looks like, or that average demographic is?
Well, and if you go back to one of our things of like, you become who you hang around.
Huh?
If if there's an Andrew Tate show and everybody goes and you go in and you're surrounded by what we all know we're imagining in our minds right now, that's what you're becoming.
Yeah.
You're not becoming like the guy on stage. He's the one. Everybody else is flocking to that. They're not hanging out with him. He's not hanging out with you. He's not showing you how much he works out or what he eats or like what he does on day-to-day basis. That's not part of the thing. That's not what you're buying. Right? So like you look around that little concert and you see a lot of guys that are 40, 50, 60% body fat or worse. Like, guess what you're becoming?
You're becoming that. And then you're begging somebody, you're paying somebody thousands and thousands of dollars to squirt you in the face with a water hose.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you can feel alive. But the cognitive dissonance too, Joe, of extremes drives me nuts too. Like with Andrew Tate, he made a lot of his money off webcam girls.
Yeah.
But the person that's a huge Andrew Tate fan wants a high quality woman, a woman who doesn't have a body count, a woman who will sit in the back seat and not open her mouth, is against porn, wants a woman that's covered. But your guy made all his money from webcam girls.
Yeah.
So where is you know what it reminds me of, Joe? Reminds me, I'm going to get political for a minute. Donald Trump is the worst human being on the face of the planet because he had classified documents in his Mar-a-Lago estate. So turns out that the good guy, Joe Biden, also got caught with some classified documents in his Ferrari or his garage. I can't remember what the exact story was. I think they were actually found in his Ferrari or in his car, and is charging his kid $50,000 a month in rent for something, which I don't know what that has anything to do with, but that's cool. That's totally okay because he didn't have a bad intent, like whatever it is. And it's the dissonance of like, one's okay, the same behavior is not okay. This guy's cool, this guy's not cool. Like it really blows my mind, Joe. I've almost shut off of any of these stories and just keep swiping.
That's what you have. Like, if you actually want to take control of your life, that's one of the things you got to do is you have to shut off all of that noise coming in. And I don't care if you're left, if you're right, like shut it all off and just look at each other like we're freaking human beings first and foremost. Take care of the people in your immediate circle first. Don't worry about what's going on in the Ukraine right now. I mean, maybe that's important. Maybe it's worth checking into once in a while. But like, if you're ignoring your neighbor, like what good is you caring about Ukraine going to do?
Never mind ignoring your neighbor. You want to change the world, Joe? Work on yourself. Can you imagine collective power? We were talking about 75 Hard, and I'm not trying to pump its tires or promo it. But if every single person in this country went on 75 Hard for the next 75 days, no booze, drinking lots of water, working out twice a day, can you imagine the change that would happen in this country?
Oh, like healthcare would become irrelevant.
You know what I mean? Like just based on that, if everyone just took some time for some basic self-care, can you imagine? Versus, again, focusing on stuff they can't control or focusing on people that frankly are trying to prey on you through vengeance and fear. And there was a thing, speaking of another one of these guys, Jordan Peterson came up. And Jordan Peterson's a really educated person. Like he's really intelligent, but couldn't grasp the simple, I wanted to call it economics, but it's not economics, of free speech.
Right.
He went on Twitter and said that the girl who's on the cover of Sports Illustrated was fat. So it's his right to say it. It's free speech. He's the champion of free speech. Well, when you open your mouth, stuff's going to come back at you. That's how free speech works. You're free to say what you want. You're not free from consequences. So a bunch of people on the internet went after him. And then he declared that Twitter's a really mean place and that he didn't want to be part of Twitter anymore. But no, this is free speech, Jordan. You're allowed to say whatever you want, but now you're upset. So he vowed to quit Twitter. He was done with Twitter. He was gone. 2 days later, I think it lasted. Maybe it was 3. He was back on Twitter tweeting again. But this is the person that's going to change your life and make you a better person. And this is the person that you believe in with all your heart.
Well, and again, this all comes down to just like marketing tactics. That's what Jordan Peterson understands.
He's great.
He understands that if he says things in a certain way, it's going to appeal to a certain audience, and that audience will give him money. Yes. Andrew Tate's the same way. Like all of these guys, it's a marketing thing. I don't know if you remember back in the day, it was like Rush Limbaugh. Everybody was all up in arms because he was so like such a staunch conservative, and he would tell it like it is. And then there was another guy, Glenn Beck, came after him. And it was like, this is all showmanship, guys. He's a character he's playing on TV. If you talk to the man one-on-one, he's a human being with like reasonable intelligence. On the show, he's playing a character that gets you riled up because then you go and you buy the stuff they're advertising. And that's why it keeps going. It's a self-perpetuating thing. It's a money-making machine. And you're sucked into it. And you're a part of it. And you're the part of the problem here because you're so weak-willed that these guys have just got you.
Is this when Alex Jones tried to proclaim he was the teller of truth in the universe, and then he got sued and in court said,
but now you understand where that came from. He didn't come up with that out of nowhere.
It's just a character. I didn't mean it. This is just stuff I say. Well, which one is it? Because you run a news program like you're telling the news and you're telling everyone the truth, but now you are a character. It's part of your show. Which one is it? I want to know.
But again, it's marketing. It's all marketing. And this brings us back to the conversation we were having because we work in the fitness sphere. And like, it's easy to get women to get on an app. It's easy to get women into fitness, into hiring a personal trainer. It's easy to convince them to try different things. The conversation is very natural if you want to do that. But to try to convince a man to do anything to help himself, you're automatically met with ego. Well, I don't need you telling me what to do. I know how to train. I know everything. You don't know nothing. Who the hell do you think you are trying to tell me I need to improve my life?
You know what I'm learning? Women are more committed. And men, you're going to hate to hear this. Women are more committed than you. They're more dedicated to self-improvement than you. They
have stronger will.
Yeah, stronger will. They don't quit. They keep themselves up more than you. Like it's, and I want to end with this, Joe, and this is going to be a great soundbite. These guys that complain that they don't get laid enough and their wives don't want them. Newsflash, gentlemen, you have to give them something to want. They don't want an unmotivated, fat, lazy, broke slob. Like, you have to put some work into yourself if you're going to keep your mate or keep your person attracted to you. It's not just going to happen for you. But
and you aren't just going to change because you think you're going to change.
Yes. Because you're
not going to be able to just say, you know what? I'm changing right now today, and then just white knuckle your way through a starvation diet and a stupid workout plan, and then suddenly come out looking like Prince Charming. Yeah. That is not going to freaking happen. Reach out, get some help.
Or pay thousands of dollars to go to some retreat for a weekend, shoot some paintball guns, and complain about.
And again, get sprayed in the face with a hose while you're doing push-ups, and they call you a maggot, and then all of a sudden you come back and you're shredded 6-pack abs, and you're a real man because you know what Navy SEALs do.
You're back.
And I've never met a Navy SEAL who's been through one of those programs, by the way.
You know, you're back to playing snooze commando at 6 a.m. because you can't even keep the first promise you made to yourself of the day. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. Snooze. 6:05. Snooze. Another promise broken. 6:10. Snooze. Another promise broken. Like, you are going to come off that weekend feeling great, and the next day you can't even pull your fat ass out of bed.
Well, then, you know what? I'm gonna listen to Goggins. Goggins is gonna get me all fired up, and I'm gonna have motivation, and I'm gonna do that. And what's it gonna last? A day?
Yeah.
A week. And then like your motivation's gone. Now what?
Listen,
What have you got left? You have no discipline. You have no dedication.
I'll
Like
openly
what you're good at is being a lazy ass and just sitting down and complaining about the world. That's what you spend all this time doing. And now that's what you're good at. It's going to be real hard to change.
No. And I'll say this. I'm a fan of a lot of the stuff Goggins puts out.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'd actually put The Rock in the same kind of category. Like, I know he's an actor. I know he's in WWE, like all that stuff, right? But he posts a lot of inspirational stuff. Like, hey, you got to go get some. You got to be the hardest worker in the room. You got to be blah, 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 blah. Well, you hear all that, but somehow you neglect to put 2 and 2 together, where this dude flies a gym around the world with him and he works out at 4 a.m. And then the excuse is, well, he has a gym that he can bring with him. I promise you that man, if that gym burnt to the ground, would still, he's the kind of guy that would go to Play It Again Sports, buy some used dumbbells and figure out, he wouldn't just let himself go. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yep. That's called discipline. It's not something you're born with. You have to learn the skill through constant effort. You have to practice. What you practice is what you get good at. So if all you're practicing is sitting on your ass complaining, that's what you get good at.
That's it. That's your life. So here's the deal, Joe, to wrap this up. I don't care what you believe in. You can be whatever religion you want. You could be left. You could be, well, now we're getting into politics. You could be on the left. You could be on the right. You could be in the middle. You could be up. You could be down, north, south, east, west. Whatever. What other opposites can I throw in there? Do whatever you want to do. Believe whatever you want to believe. But I'm not going to listen to you. And I'm not going to respect you. And I'm not going to take anything that comes out of your mouth as valid in any way if you can't even handle the basic human task, the basic human need for self-care. And to be clear, I don't expect you to have 6-pack abs, a rippling chest, and look like Chris Hemsworth in Thor: Love and Thunder. That's not what I'm asking for. I just want you to be in reasonable physical condition, just to look like you made somewhat of an effort, Joe. Because we've never asked people to be shredded and ripped and blah, 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 blah. No. I just want you to make a reasonable effort, to look like you tried to wear matching socks in the morning, to look like maybe you went for a walk or you put down the beer or the Doritos. That's it.
Well, again, a person who has discipline, it's pretty clear.
Just a little bit.
There's a way that you walk, head held high, good posture. Yeah. You're not hunched over because you've got 600 pounds of blubber on the front side because you have no discipline.
Yeah.
And again, I don't expect you to look like Mr. Universe, but try to look healthy.
And I will say, because there will be the people who come out and say, well, what if I have a problem? What if I have you can still, when you look at somebody from head to toe, you can look at somebody that still values health or take it. Because I've seen people that are 40 pounds overweight that look beautiful, Joe.
Yeah.
That care about what they wear. They care about how they dress. They care about making their hair look good. And exercise for them might not be about having 6-pack abs, but it's about feeling better. It's about being active. It's about, like, I'm not trying to be judgmental here. It's when you just absolutely refuse to do anything to take care of yourselves. And that's what I mean when I call people a slob.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with their body fat percentage, to be clear. It's a behavior.
And it's an obvious one. Like you said, we all know when we look at somebody, whether they take care of themselves or not.
You see it, and it's the same person that Tom Brady's washed. LeBron is a terrible person. He supports China because he has shoes. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, my God, dude. Come on. That guy's on TRT. Okay. All right. You know what I mean, Joe? It's the same dude. If I was,
come on, this is so easy. This is the guys when you're watching UFC at the bar, because it's the only place that you can get the pay-per-view, and they're sitting there saying, well, I would have knocked that guy out in the first round.
Okay.
I see red.
I can't believe
Caitlin goes on about this all the time. As soon as you see red, it's all over.
It's happened. I don't even know if we can put this on the podcast. We probably can. It's all these idiot fans on Twitter that are like, Lamar Jackson abandoned us. He left us high and dry. No, they're trying to underpay the man. Well,
Yeah.
he's selfish. He should be happy with his $2 million contract. No, the dude's worth $50 million a year. And by the way, if you were underpaid a cent at your job, you would be livid. You'd be blaming everybody from the Illuminati. Speaking of that, we need to bring the Templars back. The Templars, they're the real problem, Joe, that are controlling society. Probably going to get canceled for even mentioning.
I saw the Da Vinci Code. I know what's up.
Podcast, right? But it's like if you got paid a cent less by Ford or the Office Depot or Verizon, wherever you fucking work, you would be screaming about how the Templars are funneling your money into their secret treasure fund. You would be livid. But Lamar should go out and play so that you can watch your football on a Sunday, but you don't want to pay him.
Nope. You won't buy a ticket. You just want the free game on TV.
Don't buy a ticket. You want to, I'm glad you brought the UFC up. You won't pay for a pay-per-view. You want to get everything streamed for free. And you just want these people to fight for free.
Yep.
I want to leave you with one last thought, Joe. I needed your opinion on this on camera.
All right.
You seen this Romanian slap league? That dude that got his
You
saw that, right?
You got $5,000? No.
Okay, so my question is, like, I've talked about it, right? Everyone has a price. Like, hey, Joe, would you do this for $50 million? No. What about 100? Yes, please. Like, there's a number where you will do something. These people are like, I wouldn't do that for 15 million. You have no idea how hard it is to make 15 million. Because I would do a lot for $15 million.
15 million without hesitation. I'll tell you that much.
I like it's a yes to a lot of things. But $5,000 for that? I'm just like that.
I'm like, that doesn't even cover like the medical care you need to reconstruct your
We got to get him on the podcast, man. That man is fucking committed.
Well, but I wonder too, like what are the residuals from this? Like, is he now like some internet star that can sell, I don't know, supplements or something where he's going to make way more than 5,000? That's just like the buy-in.
I don't know, but I fought in a cage against some pretty tough people. I've trained with some of the best people on the planet, been punched in the face by it. I ain't doing that slap thing. I wouldn't even do that for 20 grand, 25 or 50 grand, 5 G's for that, man.
Could you imagine though? You're finally like, they find your price. You know, it's 50K, whatever. You just got to go out and get slapped in the face, and you walk out. It's fucking Eduardo or Sack.
What's going on in Transylvania that you need $5,000 that bad? What? And by the way, Transylvania is a part of Romania, I think. But what's going on in Transylvania at Vlad Dracul's castle at his estate that you need 5 G's that bad? Like, what's the exchange rate? Does 5 G's buy you like a mansion with a moat?
Yeah.
Because I'm perplexed by this, man. Like, whoa. 5 G's, huh? Don't need it.
That's a lot of discipline. Stand there and get slapped.
I duck. I get beat so fast. All right, everyone. That's your Maximus podcast. Men suck, women rule. I mean, like, guys, if you had half the balls that women have, you'd be good.
Yeah.
You'd be good. Trust me. Just have some discipline. Learn from your wife. Learn from your girlfriend. Learn from your daughter. They're just more committed than you.
Amen.
That's it. Have a good fucking day.